Welcome to the Annie's YouTube channel. My name's Katelyn, and today I'm going to be teaching you some tips and tricks to customize your Simply Beads of the Month Kit Club, the Viola kit. Thanks for joining us, and we're going to take a look at the kit, inside, what you get, and some different tips and tricks along the way. I hope you'll enjoy. When starting out your project, you're going to start with your main pendant. This is going to be your main focal drop on your pattern. And to do this piece, along with all of the other beadwork, you're going to be making a simple loop. So I wanted to show you how to do a simple loop before we get started. In this case, you're going to take your head pin, and this is called a head pin because at the end here, you have a stop so that the bead cannot fall off. We also have eye pins in your kit, and your eye pin has the circle at the top because it has an eye through it, which you can put other items. We're going to save those for later, and we're going to work with our head pin. You're going to take a metal round, and you only need this in this case because of the size of the hole on your bead. If the size of the hole in your bead is small enough that your head pin won't fall through, you don't need a metal bead or any other bead on the end. Now, once you have this all strung or placed onto your head pin, you will take your pliers and we're going to do a simple loop. When you make a simple loop, when you get started, you'll probably want to measure this out a little bit more, but you need about 1/4 of an inch of the wire to be able to have it come around. So I'm just eyeballing it, holding it over, and I'm snipping it off. When you snip your wire, always make sure to put a finger here on the end so that it doesn't go flying off into the room or hitting somebody else. You'll then take your pliers and you'll stick it right here into the point, and you can turn it either away from yourself and go around, or you can turn it towards yourself, whichever you feel more comfortable with. And you're just rotating it around into a circle to get your round loop at the top. Now you'll see mine's a little crooked, so I can grab it here with my flat part and kind of bend it over to straighten it out and get it more symmetrical down the middle. And that's how you do all of your simple wrapped loops that you will be doing throughout this entire project. Once you've gone ahead and done your wrap on the top of your pendant, it's time to add this piece to your chain. The tip here is that whenever you add a pendant or beading to a chain, as you will be doing multiple times in this pattern, is you can test the length before you do it. With inside the instructions, it's going to give you a pre-measured length that you're going to be measuring out on your chain. This is basically a suggestion for you because the length is telling you how to get exactly what you see in the pattern. But if it doesn't work for you and your style, it's okay. You're allowed to change it. So go ahead and measure. We're just going to go here with 11 inches and use that. And I'm going to pick my point where the 11 inches ended. And I'm going to take my pendant and I'm going to open up my loop. And I'm going to stick it right here onto the chain and close my loop again. And now I can measure out my second half, have it here, and I can hold this up to myself to see exactly where it lands on my body and see if I like that length. If it's too long or too short, you just can go back and adjust the length that you have of where your pendant is, making it closer or further away from the beginning of the chain, making your necklace shorter or longer. Along with the main necklace of the pendant which we just created, you also have 2 other strands that have beads. And each of these beads are strung on an eye pin, and they have a simple loop at both ends. Now, you have so many beads to be working with on each of them. My suggestion for you, and what I like to do, is to go through an assembly line. Count out how many beads you need and pre-string all of them onto your eye pins so that you can do this all at once. So I'll string on all of the rose quartz rondelles that I need and all of the moonstones that I need. Obviously, I would need more for this project, than what I'm doing. But I would pre-string all of those, and then I can go through, and if I need to get my ruler back out, I can, to figure out how far 1/4 of an inch is. I would cut all my pieces and do all of my simple wrap loops all at once. First of all, it's going to help with efficiency because you can sit and do them all at once. Second, it's going to help you be consistent with what you're doing because if you're cutting all the pieces at the same time, you'll know you're hitting them at the same point, and you'll also be consistent with how you're wrapping your loops. Once you have all of your loops finished for the ends of your piece, you're going to have beads that look like this. You'll have a simple loop on each side, one that was from the eye pin that you started and one in which you created. Then it'll be time to connect all of your pieces together. The way you connect these pieces is the exact same way that you will work when you work with a jump ring. You do get the 4-in-1 tool when you first get your first kit, and this can be a great tool for getting started. If you're going to be doing this seriously or often, and you're going to be getting multiple kits, I suggest investing in a kit of multiple pliers. Usually they come in at least a set of 4, a chain nose, a bent chain nose, a cutter tool, and usually a round nose, which you would have with your all-in-one. The reason I like this is it gives you more control when you're working. And what I mean by that is if I'm opening a jump ring, it's more secure for me to grasp my jump ring in this fashion and use a second pliers to get in there where I can get very close to where I want to be versus using my fingers. And sometimes, depending on the gauge of the jump ring, it's going to be really hard to use your fingers. When you open a jump ring, you want to make sure that you twist it forward and backward to open it so that it looks like this. You never want to open it as a C. The reason you don't want to do that is because it's super hard to get it back into the same shape that it was before. So again, I'm going to take my jump ring this way and I'm just going to twist it close. And you should hear or feel a little bit of clicking when you do it. And all that's doing is telling you that you have got a super secure connection here and the pieces are right up next to each other. When you work your simple loops, it's going to be the same way for attaching. So I just find my simple loop here, and in this case I'm just going to use the 1 plier for now, and I'm grasping on here and I'm just twisting it back to open it up. So now it's opened. I'm going to grab my next piece that I'm putting together, string it on, grab my loop, and twist it back into place. I'm going to take a look, and if it's not exactly touching, I can use my pliers and I can twist back and forth a little bit more, pushing towards where I want it to be until you get a really nice connection point so that your links don't fall apart. You just continue this for as many as you would need for this project or any other project, and you just always make sure to twist open instead of pulling open. Before we end this tutorial, I would just like to talk to you about what you do if you're not completely in love with the project that you get. You can take a look here at my sample and you can compare it to the image here of what the kit is supposed to look like. You'll see that there's an extra bit of chain in here between the different layers that I don't have in my piece that I worked up. The reason is it's not quite my style. When I added them in, it was just too many layers for me, so I took them out. It's okay to change up the pattern how you like it. This is your kit, and the instructions are just a suggestion of what to be doing with it. Yes, that's what you have materials for, but if you'd like to tweak it, it's okay. Also, you're going to get extra materials in each of your kits, which is a wonderful thing that Annie's does. So in case you drop a bead or a bead happens to be broken, not the right shape, not the right color, you have a couple extras to be able to work with. These are the extras that were in my kit. And what I did is I took the additional chain that was supposed to go in between each layer and I created this really cute bracelet. I took the rest of my beads and I added in a couple gold spacers that I had in my stash, and I strung it on some beading wire and used a crimp bead to crimp it to one of my jump rings. I then cut my wire to the length that I would need to get to my bracelet, and I added it to the jump rings that I had left over as well in the kit. I then added a clasp, and now I have a complete set with the necklace, the bracelet that I created, and the earrings that go with the kit. Again, feel free to play around with things. If a 3-drop dangle isn't quite your style, you can take out the moonstone and the rose quartz and just hang the amethyst with it, and you'd still have a beautiful earring to go with this set. You could also try playing around with not having just chain here with your large amethyst pendant. Try taking some of these links and rather than putting a whole chain, stick some right into here into your piece. There's so many different options of what you can do and how you can play with this to truly make it your own. Don't forget that you will have some extra pieces, whether it be jump rings, an extra ear wire, some clasps, even the beads. If you don't want to use them for an additional project, save them because you never know when you might need them for another project that we have from a kit. Thanks so much for joining me today to go over the Simply Beads of the Month kit. I hope you learned some really great things and are able to make a really personalized set of jewelry for yourself. If you liked this video and learned something, please make sure you hit the like button so we know. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Annie's YouTube channel, and if you click the bell icon, you'll be notified whenever there's a new video. Also, if you haven't gotten your Simply Beading of the Month Club kit yet, you can find the link down in the description box to be able to sign up. Thanks again and can't wait to see you next time.